Thank you so much for including this project in it.
Thank you too.
So I just have one question of both of you, and then I'll open it up to the audience. So just, if you could just talk a little bit about your process from conception to what we saw on the screen, both Tina and Julie.
For me, I wanted to do something completely different, but it didn't materialize. Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah, and the title of your show.
Oh, I did when we came here. When we came up here, I'm sorry, when we came up here. I wanted to do this whole digital sort of thing, but then I found out the people I was interviewing, they really weren't computer savvy. So how I got the people that I interviewed was it was just a oral history sort of thing, and I would talk to people and say, when did you come up here? Did you read the Tribune? And that was how I found all the people, just through oral history sort of thing.
So I was tasked with covering 1916 through 1937. And so I really had to go back a little bit because it's always difficult for me to just start right there and kind of have to explain, how it all began. And I started thinking about the shoreline where we first came on forced migration as actually being a scratch line. And that our ancestors, we chose to cross that line and to stay alive. And from that point on, we've always been staring at the scratch line. There's always a line drawn in the sand at some point in our lives. And you choose to go forward or not. And so I just wanted to do a piece that, because I knew we didn't have a lot of time and not a lot of money, I just wanted to do a piece that kind of honored the journey of a migrant. And I chose to make the migrant the suitcase, make it Jesus. and symbolic of the journey. Just follow the suitcase as if the person, whoever has the suitcase, decides to go forward and go north. And what would they do? The first thing they would do, they would go to the local church. And then they would go to the cemetery to say goodbye. And then they would, there's a pivotal moment where he's at the crossroads at the tracks at the railroad station. And then a shock upon arrival. And everything seems scary and strange and new and big and all of that. And then the welcoming arms of Mother Bethel is there. And they first is kind of hesitant going forward, but then they go inside and it's glorious.
You described it as a tone poem when you were sort of trying to tell me what you were going to do, and it really is. It's really extraordinarily beautiful work. Any questions, comments from the audience? A hard time seeing.
Yes, Luis, we'll help you. So Chris is on that side. We're going to take Chris's side first. Anybody on that side has a question? We have in my side. So it's you. Hands.
Thank you so much for the wonderful films. I love this whole project. I wanted to ask if you could say something about how you thought about gender when you were making your films, because I was so struck in some of the films by how divided the voices were, with sometimes a kind of male monologue or a female monologue, and then with the suitcase where there's a kind of genderless thing. But I wonder, just in terms of the research that you did for the films and how divided or not the experiences were and how that played into the way you thought about the films you made.
For me, it was the people that I selected, and actually 2 people are not in this cut, and one is a woman and one is a man, so I think I have 3 women and 2 men, but that was just the demographic that I got. I didn't set out to say I'm doing a women's piece or a man's piece. It was the audience that I got.
Oh, I usually try to focus on the culture of women, and but you do see that there's a male, carrying a suitcase. He was crew member. But I was one of the ministers walking with the Bible. So I wanted it to be genderless, but it was kind of, I guess, half and half.
And I guess I will speak, this is very audacious on my part, I'm speaking for Kevin, Jerome Everson. So Kevin's two pieces were Eason, which were Salisbury, North Carolina, New Orleans, and Philadelphia, and Malik Hutchins' piece, Improvement Association. And I think Kevin initially said, initial interest in UNIAs. I'm really interested in the guys. But very clearly, the people that he was working with was in Philadelphia was both Nadine Lester and Malik. I think it is kind of interesting in Eason that although it is definitely more male than female, but I think the women basketball players and and also the women SEPTA employees really play a
I wanted to ask about the scratch line and Mother Emanuel. Do you do this before or after, and what impact is the murders that Mother Emanuel have on you?
What impact did Mother Emanuel have? Oh, shooting. Oh, my God. Oh, we shot this afterwards, and we had to be very careful not to talk about shot while we were in there. We filmed this after the massacre. And they were very kind and very forthcoming and all of that. But still, there was a lot of security there for us and with us. And the feeling shooting that day there was very reverential. It was tense.
We have two more questions. Two more. Chris has got one.
Hi. Loud voice. Can you talk about the techniques you used, especially during the interviewing of the jazz musician and the coach, your decision not to show the actual speech in real time, the camera work around it, as well as the dubbing of the men's, of the people talking?
So Kevin Jerome Everson will be here tomorrow at 11, so that's all the reason to come back. Those two films are Kevin's films, and I'm not going to try to answer that for you.
Okay, so we have one more here.
To the panelists in the middle, you made reference to African Americans deciding to cross that scratch line, that line in the sand to survive. In your research, what were the qualities? What were the characteristics of those who made that decision? What did you see as their characteristics versus those who did not decide to cross that line in the sand?
Those who crossed the line chose to survive through a forced migration, through migration, the Great Migration in, starting at the turn of the century. We cross a scratch line every day when you choose to go forward, when you choose to live, when you choose to thrive. That's the meaning.